Million-dollar question, Robert. Is he back in this title race?
It's possible. It is possible because it's an unpredictable F1 season.
The greatest of respects to Oscar, the cloak of invincibility kind of dropped a little bit, and it showed that he is fallible just like the rest of them. The whole thing, Charles just did not look himself this weekend.
He's not connected to the car. We're less than 100 days out to Abu Dhabi. It's tick-tock, tick-tock.
Well, welcome back to the Pit Talk podcast powered by Ithara. I say welcome back because we've been doing this for a while now. It is great to be back. It is the morning after the night before and the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. So much talking points to get to from that. It's myself, Chris McHardy. It is my partner in crime. It is the one and only Robert Doornbos.
Hello,
Roberto.
buddy. Morning.
Great to be back here again.
Great to be back. Great F1 weekend behind our belts. And where do we start?
What a weekend. You and I caught up for lunch on Thursday and we said, please, let's just have a really eventful weekend.
Yeah.
And I think we got one more than even our bigger and better than our wildest dreams.
Up until Saturday, we thought this is going to be the craziest F1 weekend ever. In the end, it showed out to be a bit different on race day than qualifying. Qualifying was nuts with 6 red flags, crashes, concentration errors by drivers. The only guy that didn't make an error was our friend Max, as he didn't do on the Sunday. But it was very eventful, and surprisingly, we still have the same leader in the championship, but some cracks are showing.
Yes, loads of questions. We'll get to Oscar, but let's start with your man. You say our man, he's your buddy, he's your compatriot, Max Verstappen. Dominant in Monza, dominant again in Baku this past weekend.
Complete different track.
Yeah. But million-dollar question, Robert. I'll ask it straight off the bat. Is he back in this title race?
Mathematically, he's back. I mean, we've been doing the maths already, and I think everybody else, this will be something. We know that all roads lead to Abu Dhabi. We know every 4 or 5 years there's a huge final. And it does think like what Sebastian Vettel did in 2013, winning the last 9 races and suddenly becoming champion, from a position that nobody really expected. Is possible. It is possible because it's an unpredictable F1 season. It's not as easy. It's a bit fugazi, right? In Hungary, Max said to the media, "I'm not going to win any races anymore this season." And then after summer break, they come with a new floor in Monza. He wins by the biggest margin of the Formula One season up until now. Then he goes to Baku and he does a Grand Slam, his 6th in total out of his career, matching with Lewis Hamilton. Dominant.
When you say 6th Grand Slam, for anyone that's new to
a Grand Slam. Yeah, it's not a tennis Grand Slam. It's a Grand Slam in Formula One. Means you get pole position, you lead every lap of the race, and you get fastest lap.
And he dominated.
And you win the Grand Prix. Yeah.
You talk about that new floor. I know a lot of people were talking about it leading into Monza. Has it made the difference, or is it just the fact that the 2 tracks, Monza and Baku, just suit the setup?
Well, if you find something on your floor, it's about 65% of your downforce this year. So it's a very dominant factor with the new regulations. And the regulations since 2022 have changed. And Max has won now half of all the races since 2022. Think about that. That's crazy. Crazy stat. But it's also Pierre Boisset, who had big shoes to fill when Adrian Newey left. And I always see Pierre walking around the garage or behind the garage having a smoke, one after the other. He looked stressed. He looked stressed. No, to be honest, in the first half of the season, he looked stressed. And I think he's having a smoke less now because he can not relax in Formula One. He can never relax, but you're onto something. You found something, and then you start developing it in that direction. Like Max said, I haven't touched the car in Baku like we have done in previous races. That you're really looking for setup in practice. The basis is there, and it seems like they found something.
Knowing Max as you do, Rob, a lot said about the fact that when he's the hunted, he puffs out the chest, he's got that arrogance.
Doesn't care.
Now that he's the hunter, will he be absolutely relishing this?
Yeah, you noticed this already in Monza when he got the board radio, or actually you saw it on the screens that McLaren did their infamous, swap back after a slow pit stop. They were like, what? Are they swapping for a slow pit stop? So he doesn't care. He laughs about the competition, and not in an arrogant way, because he's only focused on himself. And as an athlete, you have to respect this. This guy doesn't get distracted by anything. I mean, he's happy for Yuki that he finished his best result of the season. and he's happy for the team, but he's only focused on his own performance.
And the lead is now, I say the lead, 69 points
69.
from Max to Oscar. It's 44 to Lando. So last night in that Red Bull garage, the chatter will be, listen, we can only focus on ourselves.
Yeah.
But if we keep doing what we're doing, we may have a big say in the destination of this Drivers' Championship.
Yeah, Andrea Stella said it as well. You can never think of Red Bull that are out of the game. You know, there's 7 races left. If Max would win all 7, you've probably done the math.
I have. So if he wins all 7, that's 49 points. He would still be 20 behind. That's still 20 of a difference. It all really depends on if, in the case of Oscar, as we said, if he finished second in every one of those races as well,
then you don't make
it's still 20 points. So he's still got to hope that McLaren are making mistakes behind him.
But
and it's still a big ask.
Who expected this mistake of McLaren? Well, first of all, of the driver, Oscar, but then also, again, the pit stop of Lando. Shit. You know, this can't happen to a championship team like McLaren.
We'll get to McLaren in a second. Just a quick final word on Max, because reading a lot of the message boards, and it is amazing, when he's dominant in the fashion that he's been in, a lot of naysayers. A lot of people say he's got no personality, he's a bit too boorish, he's a bit too arrogant. Now, a lot of people say, we're seeing a different side. Certainly from a British media perspective, now we're seeing the other side of Max. He is actually a motorsport geek. He's got more to him. He is a lovely guy after all. I think the perception a little bit of Max is changing this year. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, in particular for the Brits. I think in general they had a bad opinion about Max. And I know him outside the track as well. He is what you see is what you get. He's very focused on racing. I don't know anybody that thinks more and breathes more racing than Max. Last weekend was a day off for most of F1 drivers. What do most of those guys do? They buy a new car, they live in Monaco, they can hang out with their friends or something. You know, Max is on a track in the Nürburgring in a GT4 Cayman Porsche. I mean, you can't compare it to a Formula 1 car, to get his Nürburgring Nordschleife license to compete in the Nürburgring 24 hours, because that's one of those characteristics, 24-hour races you want to do as a racer. You're a 4-time world champion, you know, so it's admiring how he breathes and lives motorsport. And it shows his true self, you know, then the other drivers respect it as well.
And you said at the top of the show today that ultimately it was a weekend of mistakes. There's an awful lot of them. We know that Baku track is tight in places. Mistakes are there to be had, but not one from Max. It was laser focused.
Laser focused. In qualifying, you heard one radio message to its engineer that said, guys, we might have waited too long with the rain, because if Russell goes straight there, it might be too wet already for slicks. And then he delivers this lap time that, I mean, for Carlos Sainz, it was mega, because he just did it before the rain started. And he was like waiting for more rain, doing the rain dance, please, please, please. And then only to be pipped by Max. I mean, it's something special.
Perfect weekend. Could not have gone much better for Red Bull, ultimately. So the message from you is, write off Max Verstappen at your peril.
Yeah, I mean, it's an unpredictable season. You can say Singapore is not the best track for Red Bull and Max, because last year they had some problems. The year before they had not enough fuel in the car, so they always had issues. But Monza last year was the worst weekend of Red Bull and Max, and now they won it dominantly with the biggest margin of the season.
You made the point. I mean, we caught up before filming this podcast, and you said, listen, expect the unexpected. That is what makes Formula One and sports so great.
And I'm surprised, but you know this also, I think, following different sports and different athletes, if the mindset of our friend Oscar Piastri, the Iceman, we should call him, I mean, he's so relaxed. To me, it looked like something snapped. I mean, to have this launch, if you go on board, the lights go not even out, the 5th light is on, and he tries to jump it or something. He tries to, and not a little bit too early, a lot too early. And then he gets in panic mode, so the anti-stall kicks in. Basically, here we have the steering wheel, and if you have the clutch engaged, the bottom one, if you let it go, it's like a light switch. It's on and off. He let it go, but if you let it go too fast, it goes into anti-stall. So it won't shut down the engine. So it gives you a few seconds to recover it. And then you have to do the whole process again. So by that time, all the cars have passed. Alonso almost drove into the back of him, because he was focused on not only the lights, but that's the reaction test you do, right? You see something move, so you think I have to go. Watch out if you have driving lessons, that you don't do this stuff.
That's probably why I don't have license. But you're so right. And then
And then he crashes the car.
He crashes the car. We talk about the fact that panic mode set in. It's not something we associate with Oscar because we've said it on this podcast many times. He is so seemingly, and again, I mean this with the greatest of respects to Oscar, one-dimensional, apparently. The fact nothing does seem to faze him. But the weekend, the cloak of invincibility kind of dropped a little bit, and it showed that he is fallible just like the rest of them.
Yeah, and it's not like on paper that it's not your best weekend, so you get there already on the back foot. No, last year he stole the show. He won the Grand Prix. He was the defending Baku champion. And then to deliver a weekend like this, I know the car was not great. I mean, it was slippery, sliding everywhere. The McLaren, look at Lando. They were not up there. But to have a 0-point finish, for him, it's a disaster.
Let's be real. Let's be honest about it then. So he's in panic mode, as you say. He's trying to make up for the mistake he's made. Is that a driver error?
That was definitely a driver error. Yeah, that was definitely because you have cold tires. It's a very particular track, street circuit. It's hard to warm up the tires. Going into turn 5, there are leaves coming down. You're in the shade. The temperature was dropping. There's no tire temperature in the tires. So to be on the outside at that part of the track, nobody would have survived. And it's not like his talent ran out. He just had a misjudged error. And then he hit the wall. Second time, the right-hand corner for the mechanics in less than 24 hours. It's painful. Yeah.
A result of what's gone on at Monza, he's had 2 weeks to sit and, I guess, stew over the fact that the team orders, the controversy.
Yeah, he lost 7 points there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is this a case of, it's maybe a bit easy for us to sit here and pass judgment, but is he starting to feel the pressure a bit?
I just can't imagine it, that your character will change that rapidly with still 7 races to go. I mean, you had a bad quali, we all know this. You miss out on a few positions, but you can still see Lando, who's your biggest rival for the championship, on the grid, a few spots ahead of you. With his calmness, normally I would think, okay, and even pre-race, his interviews were relaxed. You know, guy, we'll see how we get on. We have a bit of slipstreaming. And so I can't imagine that you just lose it like this out of the cold feet of championship feet.
But the mistake at the start.
The mistake at the start is definitely something you... Look, nowadays with all the technology, you're not going to try to jump the start because the technology is smarter and faster
he's in the
than
McLaren.
you.
He doesn't need to.
No, you don't need to. Like back in the McHardy days, yes, I did. I tried to go 5 seconds earlier than anybody. But nobody cares because it's... but
it's still caught on corner.
Yeah, it still got caught. But it's impossible. And you get a 5-second penalty for it. It doesn't turn into a grid penalty. Thank God for him, because otherwise he would take this disaster weekend into Singapore, because he sort of damaged himself already with a DNF, and he didn't take anybody else out of the race. So
I did enjoy.
Painful.
I did enjoy him. Just sat there because he's at the part of a track he couldn't move,
and everybody was like, "Where does he get the phone from?"
So he's got the phone. Exactly, was that?
No, it's not his phone. It's from one of the marshals. Probably.
One of the marshals. He said, "Give me your phone." He's got the water and the bananas, and there he is, just.
But he must have been smiling, both ways. So Lando saw Oscar in the wall, and he would say, "Is he all right? Is he doing well, my teammate? Yes." Okay, and then you start smiling. You're sort of like, this might be an opportunity for me, to get the championship fight back in. And then to finish P7, I think then Oscar had the final smile, because, Lando didn't really capitalize on this
P7,
position.
6 points. So
6 points.
31 points down to 25.
I mean, it's a little bite here and there, and 25 points for a win. So Oscar has another DNF and Lando wins. They're even.
But it could have been a lot worse.
It could have been a lot worse.
So with that in mind then, it's a strange question this, but who comes away from the weekend happier, Oscar or Lando?
Max. No, but I think in the end, Oscar can be very happy that an error of his, it's not like it was an engine fault or what Lando had in Zandvoort, or it was a bad pit stop. It was a driver error on Saturday and a driver error on Sunday. And then to only see your margin slink this much, then you should be the happy guy.
You've been there. I always wonder, because in that cockpit, and obviously we can't get into the mind of Lando, and we'll maybe touch on Lando in a bit more detail, because I thought actually after race he was very defensive in some of his answers. But you've been there, Robert. You get news that your title rival, forget your teammate, your title rival has crashed out. Now the good news is he's fine. Okay. Now you can start to, as you would say, celebrate, be like, come on, this is an opportunity now. Where does the mind go emotionally? How do you keep that in check?
You go all in. I remember Toronto and IndyCar. I heard that my competitor for the championship, Sébastien Bourdais, the French guy, he was out in the wall. And I was like, is he okay? Okay, now I go, so I can extend my lead in the championship. But on the other hand, you have to be cautious that you don't get overexcited and hit the wall yourself. So there's a sort of a trade-off. But of course, if you see your championship rival on the wall, you can relax a bit more and try to capitalize on it. But in Lando's situation, I think 7th place is something that is not favorable.
Risk and reward at that point.
Risk and reward.
Ultimately, Lando afterwards said, it is what it is. Any driver in my situation would have probably done the exact same because the track is.
I read the same comment, but I don't agree with him because he's blaming now the team for the slow pit stop and he's shoving it. Did you see his restart? Did you see his? It was terrible. I mean, in Baku, the leader who decides the pace will wait for the final moment because of the longest straight on the Formula One calendar. You don't want to go straight out of turn 16 because you just get swamped. So Max was waiting and weaving and weaving. And the game he's playing. Especially Carlos Sainz was waiting and waiting. He was awake. The guy behind was awake. And Lando wasn't awake. So Charles Leclerc passed him straight away. One of the only overtakes after the safety car restart. And that took him many laps to get the position back. Many seconds. You ask more of your tire. So you have to stop earlier. So he's not the best in looking in the mirror, I think, Lando.
No, and it's over defensive, and to be fair,
it's over defensive.
It is a bit.
Yeah,
it is a little bit for me because obviously he's disappointed in himself. But cold like a day, when he wakes up this morning, he might think to himself, "Well, listen, it was 31 points before this weekend.
Of course, could have gone worse.
It could have gone a lot worse.
Yeah,
it's now 6 points less. It's 25 points. Could have gone better, yes." But it could have been worse. So he's got to balance all of that out.
He's got to balance it out. And he goes to Singapore knowing that he dominated that weekend. But as we know now, results from the past don't give any guarantees in the future in Formula One. Because last year's Monza race was the worst for Red Bull. Red Bull dominates. Last year's Baku race was the best for Oscar. Oscar's nowhere. So Lando in Singapore, time will tell.
Time will tell on Lando. In terms of the other big storylines, obviously, George Russell finishing second, decent weekend for Mercedes, and then Carlos Sainz Jr. What a weekend for him. A little bit disappointed he didn't hold on to second, but
it's great. A podium in a Williams is like winning the Grand Prix. It's the highlight of their season. And Carlos had a difficult season. I mean, he was struggling this year a lot compared to Albon, who was racking up the P5s, P4s, P6s. A lot of points. And Carlos scored as many points as he did all season in 17 races. Now in one race. So good for him, and I think it will get the monkey off his back.
I did laugh. Did you hear the radio? He was constantly saying, I'm worried about the undertake. I'm worried about undertake. Can we just... Because he's obviously so anxious.
Yeah, he wasn't even looking ahead. He was focusing on his own race, and the guys behind you. And look at what strategy does for you. George Russell, great drive on the Saturday and the Sunday to recover, because Friday, Saturday, I think he was ill. So he lost some kilos, and that probably give him an advantage. But to go for the strategy himself, and it was his call on the radio, tires feel good, I'm staying out. Like Max did, 40 laps or something. So that could have happened, with
I wonder on that, Robert. We've all been there. We've all been a bit under the weather at work. But my work, talking for a living, is very different from sitting in a Formula One car at the speeds that they're travelling at, the demands placed on you mentally, physically. How is it to be ill? And George said it. He's been crook all weekend. Yeah. He was feeling awful. And yet he's still professional enough to jump in the car, get the result. Have you been in that position yourself where you haven't been 100% physically, mentally? Yeah. And you're lucky you get the good guidance, right? You have your physical trainers. He prepares your meals. You're ready. And injections, but no doping, because they can check everything, They do that. They do that. There's doping tests. They say it's random, but me as a Dutch driver, I had to pee every weekend almost. So I don't know how random it is. I don't know how random that is. But I think for George in the race, he was happy that the checkered flag was out there. And it's physically a tough one. You have a long straight and you think you can relax, but no, because of the bumps you cannot. And with his height, he's like in the seat like this, so he will just really hurt his back all the time. He's one of the taller. He's the tallest, I think, together with Esteban Ocon. Yeah. So he is in there. He's in there. Sweat. It's a big push. It's a big push. And the G-forces and also the closing speeds. You saw when they had the DRS and the battery engaged. The top speeds is like 360 kph. And
it's fast. It's really
Yeah,
fast.
I know a lot was said about it, the fact that it's not a track conducive for overtaking, but the look and feel of Baku, I like it. The big long straight,
Yeah.
tight corners, the little chicane where the buildings are pretty close. As a driver, you've got to be absolutely on it.
You have to be on it, and the walls don't give in. I mean, if you can scrape some barriers. We saw some lovely footage of Lewis Hamilton just touching it in turn 5, 15 slowly. But if you go into the concrete, it will just destroy your car and destroy your weekend.
And
your ego.
And your ego. I was going to say that as well. Talking of Ferrari, another weekend where I look at it, you think there's much more to give. Ultimately, Lewis ended up finishing ahead of Charles, so a little bit of a mini win for Lewis. But what did you make of their performance?
It's not enough, Chris. I mean, 17 races in, we can say this is just not. Lewis Hamilton, Ferrari isn't the best combination. Ferrari swapping positions for 8 and 9 at one stage because the other guy had better tires. And I mean, it's just not Ferrari-like. I mean, they dominated here in qualifying in the past 4 or 5 years, I should say, with Charles Leclerc. Always pole position. So I was expecting a lot more. And for some reason, it's just, they're not getting it. And I hope for them that all the focus shifts to 26. And they have a car ready in 26 that makes a difference.
I found that interesting. I was watching qualifying, and because of the 6 red flags, it turned into a marathon on Saturday watching it. But obviously all the chatter, McLaren's struggles. But up until Oscar's crash, it was actually, the big story for me was Charles. Uncharacteristic. He crashed out himself, but he was making headers into turns. He was going off in runoff areas. He had to hit river. The whole thing, Charles just did not look himself this weekend at all.
No, I think also you can notice this. Engineers will notice, okay, he's about to crash. If we probably wait 1 second, he will hit the wall somewhere because the car doesn't look one. He's not connected to the car. It sounds strange, but you need to be one as a driver with your car. You need to feel everything, every bump, every locking of the wheel, and you can adjust your tools on the steering wheel. But if I look at Charles, he was not on it. And qualifying is his thing. He's never been beaten by a teammate in Formula One throughout the season, and neither this year. I mean, he beat Lewis Hamilton now 13-4, so he's on it. But you knew he was about to crash, and the way he crashed as well was like he almost gave up because he hit the brakes into 15. Then he locked the wheel and he kept turning. That's what you do when you say, okay, I'm not going to make it.
It's interesting listening to you say that because I always attribute that to golfers. Golfers talk a lot about swing wasn't there this week. I've just not quite felt in tune. It's the same for a Formula One driver.
You need to be one with the car. Your bum basically tells you what the rear end of the car does. From the steering wheel, you get the input from the front. If you're not synced, if you're not there, especially in qualifying, where you have to hold your breath for a minute and a half here in Baku. It's I mean, some parts of the track are very narrow. And if you're not synced, there's no confidence. And then you're going to crash or you're going to be slow. Those 2 options.
I love that. And from now till the end of the campaign then, what is success for Ferrari? Now, we've spoken a lot about Lewis.
Well, we had their home races already, so they can't get any result there anymore. Of course, any result will do now. But I think also on the other hand, if I see them having a deputy team manager on the pit wall already preparing for the future, for 2026, there's a lot going on. Engine regulations, it's going to be an engine championship. And Ferrari making a hybrid engine that will surprise everybody. I mean, it can happen. We bet all on Mercedes, but if it would happen for Ferrari, then Lewis and Charles are set for 2026 title championship rivalry. But until this year, I mean, what can they do? Just make the best out of it. But I don't feel any pressure to develop this car anymore.
No, they are now very much 2026.
Like Aston Martin.
That's the vibe I get.
Yeah.
Not so for McLaren, and clearly not so for Red Bull.
No.
You know, you and I think we spoke on a few weeks back saying that, as you said, after Hungary, Max was throwing the towel in. All of a sudden, they're re-engaged in this. They think, wait a minute, if doubts are starting to seed in the drivers, maybe they're second-guessing themselves, we might have a chance.
It's mind games, right?
It is.
At the end of the day, you get even more respect from Max that he sticked with the team to motivate them again, even though he hits them on the head saying that, guys, we're not going to win a race anymore. He went to the factory, tries to, gel with the new team boss. Laurent Mekies obviously made a change. Before Laurent came, I thought with Christian, the team will implode, Max will leave. That was definitely my opinion. When Christian leaving, I mean, we're not talking about Christian Horner anymore.
No, we're
After
not.
2 victories for Laurent Mekies and his new staff, you don't talk about Christian anymore. I heard about his settlement, and there's some rumors that he might buy himself into Haas to get into F1. I mean, he will come back. This is a guarantee. He loves this sport. There's fuel running through his veins, and money is not an issue anymore.
And that's a really good point that you raise, is not just performances on the track, but have Red Bull's really strong last couple of races come from the fact there's more now serenity. It's a little calmer.
It's like a company. You know, if the structure is not there, and if there's a chaotic work environment, which there was with Christian Horner still having his lawsuit pending, and through the media, a lot of fights going on behind the scenes through power and ownership. And I think Laurent Mekies is definitely 180-degree different character, because he's only focused on design of the car. He's the engineer himself, so he knows what he's talking about. Less commercial than Christian, less outgoing, but focused on the job. And for now, it's paying off.
Is Laurent and Max, are they a good fit?
They're a very good fit, I think, because they can really talk about cars for hours and hours and hours. And I think Christian, I know Christian, he knows definitely his thing about Formula One cars, 1 or 2, and he's driven cars himself, but he's not into that detail, because he has the bigger picture. He has the marketing, he has the engine facilities, he has the employees. I mean, he set up this team, don't forget, 20 years of experience building up from Jaguar, which they bought for £1, to build up a successful multi-billion-dollar Formula One team. It's something to be, you can only have respect for that.
Absolutely.
But now into the next phase with the new regulations, I think with Laurent Mekies, and he will definitely pick Isaac Hadjar for next year.
I was going to ask, that was literally going to be my next question.
I think so. Yeah, because they have a working relationship. He knows Yuki quite well. If Yuki keeps delivering like he did this weekend, it might change. But to be honest, Isaac Hadjar as a rookie has done a lot. And to put him into Max in a new regulations, new car, new atmosphere, is the safest bet.
You know, as a young driver as Isaac is, does he have any weight behind him to make some demands? Because we know this Red Bull car has been so, and why would it not be so in favour of Max? He's a 4-time world champion. Is Isaac simply going to be told, listen, this is your car for next year, you've got no say in the matter? Or will he be able to say, well, listen, what does it look like? What's the roadmap for my career if I'm going to be in the shadows of Max Verstappen for the next 1 year at the very least?
Yeah, but a good question. If you would have signed, for example, for this year, like Yuki did, then you throw him into the lion hole and say, okay, Max will just eat you alive. You know, he won't leave a piece from you. And it's not that he's focused on his teammate to destroy him, but he just does, because he's so much faster. Data never lies. So Max will say, look at my data. This is what I do, you know, and this is how I drive. But you don't drive the same as me. You have a different driving style. And I'm sure Isaac has a different driving style to Max. And therefore, his advantage to jumping into the team in 26 is because they don't know anything about this car. On track, they know it in the virtual world, but they don't know anything on track. So he can really set his own boundaries and try to grow in the same space as Max.
So he has got more strength.
I think he has more strength to jump in 26 than he would have had in 25.
And you believe that is inevitable, that Hadjar drives for Red Bull?
Unless he really messes up the next 7 races. I mean, with Red Bull, what they do is they sign you for a contract, and the team will decide, the Red Bull management, where to put you in which car. I mean, Isaac has a contract for next year, and Max has a contract for next year. It's quite clear that Max will stay in the Red Bull car, but in Isaac's contract, for sure, will be a clause that says, Helmut, Red Bull management, will decide for which team he will drive.
So with that in mind then,
at least they have him then. You know?
Liam Lawson and Yuki then?
They're still fighting it on flat out. And it was a good fight to see them on track. Liam doesn't have a contract yet, and Yuki doesn't have a contract yet. And I think for Liam, I was very happy for him because he had a terrible start to the season. I mean, in your home race, think about it. You make your debut for the big Red Bull team, and you look terrible compared to your teammate. And then in the second weekend, they already replace you. Very painful. So mentally, it took him a while to get back. So qualifying third for him was obviously best career quali. And then finishing fifth.
Great weekend.
Great weekend.
Really good weekend. Just want to touch on something you said there about driving styles. If I was to throw a few names at you, could you break down their driving styles. So Max, for example, layman's terms, Robert, what is Max Verstappen's driving style?
Driving style means if you have Max has a steering wheel and he turns, the car will respond instantly. Not in a second, in a split second. If it doesn't do so, you get understeer because that means you turn, nobody's home, and the car goes straight. He doesn't like that. He can go faster with the car being pointy, as they say. So we remember in the 23 area that they had the rear end a bit higher. When he turns in, the car just hits the apex. If it's at 250 kilometers an hour or at 100 kilometers an hour, the car has to turn. What you get then is that the rear gets loose. Then you need fast hands and you need confidence. So with his talent, he can save the rear end and still push for the fastest lap time. If you don't have the confidence like Yuki had in this car earlier in the season, when you turn in, you think, oh, it's too pointy, give me a bit of understeer. Yeah, you can get the understeer in. You take the front wing out, or you have some other changes you can make, differential, etc. But you just be slow in the lap time. So if you want to stay close to his lap time, you have to drive with his driving style.
So that's Max then. So what you're telling me, at layman's terms, he's a man that likes a sensitive steering wheel.
Very sensitive.
If he turns a little bit, that thing is turning.
Yeah.
Lewis Hamilton then, how do you analyse his driving style?
He's more precise. So he's more like Michael Schumacher. Michael Schumacher's hands were always like, he would turn, but he wouldn't do like this. So he would start earlier and turning and trying to make the apex, and he didn't like a lot of understeer.
Looking at you there, it's a lot smoother.
A lot smoother. I think Max is definitely good on tires as well because the way he behaves, and you can use all these tools nowadays with engine braking and stuff. But his front end has to be has to point. And for example, Alonso, back in the Michelin days, in 2005 and 6, when he won the championship, his steering was like this. And then he just created understeer in the car because the rear was so good. And it's all about finding something that suits your style, and then you can really push the boundaries and push the limits and extract the maximum out of the car and the tire.
Ultimately, that's what all of these drivers
that's what all they're looking
are
for.
Trying to do.
Yeah.
What's Oscar's driving style when you analyse him?
Oscar is more aggressive than Lando, I would say, but also very good on the tires because you can see he can make it work. His failure I wouldn't say it's failure because he was learning in his first year in F1. Qualifying, he was there. Race pace, he wasn't.
That's right.
And then he changed his driving style to save the tires longer, but still be fast and make the apexes. But there's nobody that has as pointy preference in the front end of the car as Max.
He is the apex predator.
Yeah, the apex predator.
Is Max Verstappen. Got a couple of weeks now. I can't help but think, Oscar, not a good thing for Oscar again, Robert, this, because we're now in a position whereby he's got another 2 weeks to think about another bad weekend.
But again, it's 1 week less till the final race of the championship. I mean, we're less than 100 days out to Abu Dhabi. It's tick-tock, tick-tock. It's going to be exciting. I look forward to it. Yes, we have to wait a little bit now to Singapore, but then they're closer to one another. Very different tracks, high G-force circuits, high downforce, hot temperatures in Singapore. So a lot can happen.
And the other thing, the lights.
The lights in Singapore are mega. I mean, it's a long street circuit as well, and it's rubbering in throughout the weekend very fast. It's hard on tires, which means you can actually see the layers of rubber growing throughout the weekend, and it means you can push every session a little bit more, but don't push too early because you end up in the wall and then you get on the back foot if you miss a practice, for example, and they have to fix your car. I mean, these guys know all this, but it's all about, not getting too excited for Oscar.
And technically as well, from a driver's perspective, from a day race to a night race with the twinkling lights that Singapore will have, does it change your mindset at all?
It's more your rhythm that you have to. It's like constant jet lag because you try to be in the European rhythm because you're almost racing in the middle of the night, and the food that you have to take in, and so you're sleeping late in your hotel. You wake up late in the morning, so it's a whole different.
Yeah, I think that's important. I was talking to someone recently about this.
Is it your biorhythm? That's what you call it.
The circadian rhythm, isn't it? Yeah. Whereby you've got to keep that. A lot of people might not be aware of this listening or watching this podcast. Ultimately, you guys will always stay on European timing. Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah, because then it gets the best out of your body. Like your physical trainers and your physical preparations will be done on European time zones. So you get breakfast straight, early, straight a workout in, but it can be already late afternoon when you wake up.
So they'll have blackened curtains.
Yeah.
You do all of that things to it. You're trying whether you're in the Far East or whether you're in North America.
To get the best out of your body. I think Las Vegas and Singapore are the worst for this. Because due to TV rights, they broadcast it at a certain time that the most amount of people can view it around the world. Otherwise, if they would do a 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. start in Singapore, nobody will watch it in Europe. It's so therefore, and it's spectacular, of course, the street circuit at night. You have to change the visor on your helmet, the flashes and the sparks flying from other cars. It's intense. It makes it more intense.
So there are times where people are eating breakfast at midnight.
Yes.
They're eating
and people are leaving the circuit at 4 a.m. in the morning. But it feels like it's 5 a.m. in the after 5 p.m. in the afternoon. That's
amazing.
Yeah. So you're sitting in the lobby in the hotel after the race with big eyes at 4 a.m. in the morning because you can't sleep from the adrenaline. Probably after qualifying the same. And then it's back into you stay in the European rhythm.
Wow. A lot of people might not know that.
No.
A lot of people might not be aware of that. You think, they just prepare, they go to sleep. It's not.
But it's like if you have to perform at your best at 11 p.m. at night. Well, I don't know what you do at 11 p.m. at night, but might have.
I'm still
in the bar.
office.
You're probably at your best at 11 p.m. But to do at a professional level in sports, it's different.
Did you find that difficult, Robert? Because that, I would imagine, is you're flying here, there, and everywhere, and yet you're eating stuff that your kind of brain's telling you I should not be eating this.
Well, that, and on the other side, I couldn't sleep from the adrenaline. So I did a night race in Kentucky in IndyCar, which was because of the speedway, and in Texas as well, Dallas, Fort Worth, because it's too hot during the day for the people to sit in the grandstands, and you have 100,000 people there. So it's the night race starts. You finish qualifying at 2 a.m. in the morning. So I came back to my hotel and my eyes were like this big and I just couldn't sleep. And I thought, okay, tomorrow night it's going to be the same again. So it's more the adrenaline and then the food that makes the difference.
Adrenaline that kicks you through. Right, we've got 2 weeks to wait for the Singapore Grand Prix. How does the next 2 weeks work in the corridors of power at McLaren? Will they be doing a lot of self-reflection, a little bit of introspection, or how do you think this is going to pan out now?
Self-reflection on the pit stops. I think it's really time they can't afford any more blunders like they have in recent 2 Grand Prix. I mean, it was a painful pit stop for Lando in Monza. Another painful one yesterday because it was the only pit stop of McLaren that we saw. Oscar was out. And I think as a team, it doesn't matter if you're Williams, you're dominating the championship like you do with McLaren. You need to find within that organization 20 people, 20 guys, most of them are guys still, that perform under pressure within 2 seconds or a little bit more, 26 tasks. And that's including changing 4 tires. It's stopping the car, it's holding the car, you know what they do. It's like a wasp, how do you call it? I call this a wasp nest, but that's the Dutch word. It's like when all the wasps are there, you just fly in there and you see all these people, you stop on the mark, you do your thing, and then the rest of the team will do theirs. Yeah.
And get the job done.
So if you're the biggest or the wealthiest team or the smallest team, no, you need to find, shouldn't matter. And
but as an F1, and now that you're out the game, you're a proper F1 fan like us all.
Yeah.
You're kind of hoping that they don't get their stuff together.
Yeah, true. I mean, I hope that the championship battle will be a 3-way fight in Abu Dhabi. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? And then there's still a tap open from Oscar, from Monza. So if it would be a 2-way fight or 3-way fight, then Lando would still say, do I still need to pay for the...
Do I still need to move over?
Oscar something. Because basically you do. You still owe Oscar something.
Let's be honest though. Come Abu Dhabi, and all roads do lead to Abu Dhabi. Of course, the Etihad Airways Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, the final race once again of the season. Will it be a 3-horse race? Are the juices now flowing and thinking
I get
Max?
the 2016 vibes with Nico Rosberg, Lewis Hamilton, and Max in this championship fight, and then there was the 2021, obviously the biggest one we all can remember, the conclusion in Abu Dhabi. We're 4 or 5 years later now. It's about time.
But Max,
a lot has to happen. He has to win all 7.
I was going to say he needs to just keep winning.
It's not impossible.
Does he win in Singapore? Does he make it 3 in a row, Robert?
Yeah, he's going for the hat-trick.
Does he do
Let's
it?
go for the hat trick.
Oh,
Just
love it.
let's
I'd
go.
love it if he did. The Pit Talk podcast with this man, Robert Doornbos. It is powered by Ithara. Just enough time, I guess, for me to tell you guys, pop along to AbuDhabiGP.com. That's where you will find all your various packages, whether it's race weekend package, the after race concerts. We've got Benson Boone, we've got Katy Perry, we've got Post Malone and Metallica.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. And a little birdie told me this past week, Metallica tickets flew out, record-breaking sales on Metallica.
And you can still win tickets, right? From our podcast.
Still
follow
win
us,
tickets.
tag your friends, and we might see you there.
Yeah, we're on YouTube. Of course, you can get the podcast any of your usual platforms. We're on social media as well. This man is active on there. I was actually going to ask you about this. You are prolific, Robert, on your social media. Oh my goodness.
But any questions, please also share them with us,
questions.
and I will definitely answer them in
Robert
the show.
is the man to answer them. Do give us a follow on those social media platforms. Do subscribe to us on YouTube as well. If you are new to the podcast, we welcome your feedback as well. And of course, if anyone has got the answers, it is the man to my right. It is the one and only Robert Doornbos. What's the plans for the next fortnight heading into Singapore? Are you here in Dubai or where are you?
I'll be here.
You're not moving?
I'm not moving until the end of the championship. We're going to be side by side. We're going to experience this all together. We should watch this race together, actually. The Singapore race.
We've talked about doing this. Yeah. So maybe we'll do that. Because Robert and you and I have not watched it.
And then we stay on the Dubai time zone. Right?
Exactly.
We're not gonna have breakfast in a cafe at night.
We could just do the podcast there and then as well. So Robert, you're here, and then we've got big plans for the final race weekend. We are going to be on ground in Abu Dhabi.
Really cool.
And we've got some big name guests lined up as well. So it's exciting times for the Pit Talk podcast. It is powered by Ithara. But for now, Robert, gracias, my friend. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We're back to reflect on the Singapore Grand Prix. But the headlines then, well done to Max. Problems for McLaren. And problems. But there's nothing new for Ferrari.
I think Carlos Sainz is still having a nice tequila somewhere.
And he should. Bet your life. He's on that party train for the next week. From us here at the Pit Talk podcast, powered by Ithara. Thanks for now.